Cooking with the Vegan Zombie.
Welcome back to another holiday episode of Cooking with the Vegan Zombie. Tonight's agenda, gingerbread cookies. Let's go over the ingredients we're going to need for tonight. A half a cup of Earth Balance natural buttery spread. Make sure it's soft for you to work with. We've got a half a cup of maple syrup. A half a cup of molasses. A teaspoon of cinnamon, a teaspoon of ginger, a teaspoon of allspice, half a teaspoon of ground cloves, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a teaspoon of vinegar, 2.5 to 3 cups of unbleached white flour, and some cookie cutters. And for all you gluten freebies out there, I actually tested it with white rice flour instead of unbleached flour, and it seems to work pretty good. Because I can handle the gluten, I kind of use the white flour, but if you want to try it out, use this white rice flour. It's gluten free and it's go vegan. So we're going to start with mixing our wet ingredients together first. We got the butter, we got maple syrup, and the molasses. We'll cream this together. When we start mixing the dry ingredients, we'll add all of them together to the flour. I'm going to put the baking soda in first. There's 1 teaspoon. We'll add all the rest of the dry ingredients. Whisk it together, and that's ready. Now we'll just add a teaspoon of vinegar to the wet ingredients. Mix that in. All right, so we'll add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients. You want to just form a dough ball. You don't want to over mix it. Just kind of keep going real light on the sides, pulling it into the middle till a nice little dough forms. Look at that, just like magic, it just happens. It was a big thing of flour and now it's turned into gingerbread. It's a little too wet, so I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of flour to this mixture. So this is the consistency we're looking for. Kind of a big dough ball. A little moist but not falling apart. And all we need to do now is put it in a bag and flatten it out. And then stick it in the fridge. So, while our gingerbread is in the fridge cooling off, we're going to make our icing. Now, we want a good stiff icing, so I'm going to mix a little bit of the Earth Balance buttery spread with a little bit of the Earth Balance shortening. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of each. Going to add a teaspoon of vanilla. And we're just going to mix this all together. Now we just have to start adding some of our powdered sugar. I'm going to add it 1/2 cup at a time because you want a good stiff frosting for these gingerbread monsters. Is it worth it? Let me work it. Pull the flour down, flip it, and revert. You want to just keep mixing and adding a little bit of powdered sugar at a time until it gets to a nice stiff consistency. Not gooey and not too dry. We're about there right now, actually. All right, our gingerbread dough has been fully cooled and it's ready to rock. So we're going to take it out of this bag, plop it onto some parchment paper, and roll it. Roll it to about a 1/4 inch thick, and then you got to find cookie cutters. Now you're probably wondering, where does a guy like me find cookie cutters in the post-apocalyptic world? Well, I rummaged around some houses and I managed to find a moose, a tree of the Christmas variety, a star, a guy, could be a zombie, I don't know, and a moon. We got a moose, a tree, and a star in the first round. Then you just got to pick up the scrap dough and roll it out again for round 2. No! Just a little tip. If the dough ends up getting a little too sticky and tough to work with, just add another tablespoon of flour. Pat it down, it'll work really well for you. So you know what I ended up making? I went with a star, a moose, a tree, and 2 moons, just like Tatooine. Got the oven preheated at 375 degrees. It only takes 5 minutes to cook these bad boys. Let's pop it in and count. All right, so my last batch is in the oven. I got a big plate of cookies right now to work with. All I gotta do is frost them up. How do you frost them up? I'm gonna show you a little trick if you don't have your own piping bag. I left mine at my other safe house. We're just gonna take our icing, stuff it in this little bag. Now we're just gonna take a little corner off. Squeeze it down. Burp it, if you will. You guys are probably so much better at this than I am. Okay, so I'm not the best artist, but they do taste good. So there you have it, folks. A really easy, delicious gingerbread cookie recipe that you can bring to a holiday party near you. Of course, I'll be eating them by myself, but that's all right. More cookies for me, you know? So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube page, friend us on Facebook, or go to TheVeganZombie.com. Or you can do all three. As for me, I'm gonna go try to decode more of that book and find out what other recipes are hiding underneath those words. Really? A bread knife?
Do not take me as some conjurer of cheap tricks. I'm not here to rob you.
What? I wasn't listening.